hands is how many people, oh wait, I have to, got it, okay. I have to just ask how many people are planning to actually cook along as opposed to just watching this show. It's not, it could be a spectator sport, but it doesn't necessarily work that way. So how do I find out how many people raise their hand for that?
Not today, but I will in the future.
Oh, okay. Is that Mary?
That's Mary. Yeah.
Hi, Mary. Fantastic.
About
it's
three.
so nice to see people,
It's great.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going
You
to.
had about 3 or 4 hands raised.
Oh, okay. And the rest of you guys are just a spectator sport. Well, I also want to say I'm not taking attendance. People can show up for whichever classes they want. You can ask to get off of my list if you had enough of this already. And I'm just gonna kind of, keep going every 2 weeks. We'll see how it goes. Oh, there's Emmy. She's a spectator, but was the inspiration. So I just want to talk a little bit about my vegetarian journey, how I became a vegan. And basically I grew up in a house that was very meat and potatoes. Big meal was kind of rice or, it was Uncle Ben's or potato buds and some kind of piece of meat, some kind of, boiled this or hamburger or whatever. My mother, and then a salad that was all like iceberg lettuce. My mother was not a very good cook, so I don't have any like positive, oh my God, I have to have those Swedish meatballs or anything. So luckily I was unfettered by that. And then my brothers and I all became good cooks. It was like a matter of survival. So we had to learn how to cook. And then when I moved out of my parents' house, I was living with friends in sort of a commune kind of thing. And we, meat was expensive. If you think it was expensive then, you ought to see it now. Anyway, and so we tried to eat less meat and have more plant-based meals, not for any ideological reason, but I bought a copy of Diet for a Small Planet and, sort of got into her thing, which was protein complementarity, which I have to say from the start has now been sort of, poo-pooed because you get enough protein without having to take, a quarter of a cup of soy flour for every whatever. You don't have to be that. There's a pool of amino acids during the day and you just eat good food and you're fine. Don't worry about it. Most vegetarians probably get way more than adequate protein. And most Americans are eating, 3 times as much as they need, which has its own horrible effects on the liver and the kidneys, et cetera, and the bones. So in any case, so I kind of got into that and read her book. And then I realized the environmental cost and the social cost of eating a lot of meat. And then I moved to Israel, where I ended up living across the street from the largest open air market in the Middle East. And in order to buy meat, you like pointed to the chicken and they, cut the head off. They killed it for you right there. And you had to take it home and pluck all the rest of the feathers and guts and all that. And it was gross. And the fish were very fresh. They were like on the ice. It was a port city and they were like just looking you in the eye. And the beef was hanging from a big hook with flies all over it. So I was like pretty grossed out. So for me, that was like the aesthetic part of like not wanting to eat this stuff. And somewhere along the line, I actually worked on a chicken farm with eggs, an egg place. And so I just kind of developed an aversion to ovos. And then I went to school and became a dietitian and learned about all the health reasons for eating a more plant-based diet. And then ethically, just like speciesism, like why are some animals food and some animals are pets? And it just, my philosophy now is if I don't have to kill anything, why should I kill it? It's just not a pleasant thing to do. So, and then last week I heard I learned a new word, which was, a lot of people say, oh, are you a pescatarian? Are you a locavore? Are you vegetarian? Well, the word is climatarian. And I think that at this point in history, being a climatarian is a really good thing. So that's the word I'm going to use. And then, of course, I saw, more recently in the past 10 years or so, some very persuasive movies. And I can send you a list of great movies to see, like Forks Over Knives is pretty much, and Super Size Me are pretty much about the health aspects. And Cowspiracy is just, amazing about the environmental effects and how agribusiness and everybody just, a lot of the organizations that we think are environmental organizations are actually supported by the meat industry, which is why they haven't said anything about not eating meat. And anyway, and Earthlings, which has a lot of more, the ethical animal rights kind of stuff. But there's a lot of great movies out there. And then Game Changers is for all those people who are athletes who say, well, I have to eat meat in order to perform. Well, it's about all these vegan athletes, plant-based athletes who are, winning medals and outdoing everyone, including that guy, Ivan, who's the world's greatest weightlifter. He's a vegan. So anyway, so that's sort of my story. And at this point, I think meat has the inflation rate, it's 16% more than it used to be. So, it's a good time. It's a good motivator at that. So we're going to get started cooking. I guess, how do I turn on the cutting board, Mayra?
On that laptop in front of you, you need to click the camera.
Start video. Okay, that works. Unable to start video. We can't, because the host has stopped it. Host?
Okay, try now.
Okay. There we go. Voila. So there's our cutting board. And there I am. And we're going to get started here. So
And
the first
one
thing
quick
we're gonna
thing.
do-
Sorry, Mom, one
Yeah,
quick
go
thing.
ahead.
Yosef had mentioned in the chat, but for those of you who don't already have it, if you put your view in speaker instead of gallery, it should spotlight the two cameras. So camera 1, which is Renee, and camera 2, which is her cutting board. If you're in gallery, she might be too small to see. So
Okay. Everybody good? Okay. So I sent you all the recipe and you should have it out in front of you. And the first thing we're going to do is make our omelet mix. I just want to say I had sent you a copy of this this stuff. This is the chickpea flour. I want to apologize in advance. I did not do a nutrient analysis of this. I will do it and send it to you. I just didn't have time. So I take all my stuff and I put it in jars usually once I open it. And so I just want to say one other thing about this is when I make this up, I'm going to be putting it in this this bowl. And at the same time I do that, I'm going to put the same amount in here and here. So that next time I want to make an omelet, I have the mix already made up and I just have to add water, as they say. So where my half cup measure got buried. Here we are. So let me get a spoon out. And I will try and finish this in an hour, but if I don't, the reason I made it to an hour is because a variety of reasons. Some people just get bored easily. I'm not that entertaining. And some people just couldn't stand that long. And some people have other engagements. So I decided to try and keep it to an hour. And I just want to say to measure things off, we talked about this last week. You can use a knife if you want it really exact. I don't really care if this is really exact. Now, okay, so if you folks want to, you can do the same thing I'm doing because I am out of mix because we had an omelet last week. I don't know if can you see, yeah, you can see me on the other camera doing this. If there's any reason to change the tilt of these cameras, let me know because I'm not looking at myself while I'm doing this. Oh, there I am. Voila. Okay, so this is going to go in this one. And then we're going to take one more half cup of chickpea flour. So if you're only doing one, then you have plenty of time to do this because I'm doing 3. So, okay, voila, we got our chickpea flour. And I'm going to close that up and put them on the side. The next thing is nutritional yeast. I want to say a few things about nutritional yeast. This is what it looks like. It's this flaky stuff. And my measuring spoons, and it calls for 2 tablespoons. So I'm just going to, it's easy because it sort of levels out itself. That's 2. Help me count here because I'm getting a little. Okay. And then 2 for you. Not that important to measure it totally level. And then the next thing we're going to have is the flax seeds. So one of the things I sent you was how to make, what to use instead of eggs. Well, let's see. Where's my flax? Here's my flax. So I'm gonna put these flax seeds. This is what flax seeds look like. Can we see those? And I'm putting it in this coffee grinder, which has a little coffee dust in it from this morning. Oh, extra little flavor. And I'm gonna grind them up. If I have, I just kind of force them in, like I always overestimate. Dennis is gonna actually plug it in for me. This is gonna be a little noisy. And then if I have extra, I just put it in a little container. It's not that noisy. Okay. Like, 5-10 seconds, and then voila, we have a bunch of ground flaxseed. So if you take a tablespoon of flaxseed and 3 tablespoons of warm water and you let it sit for a while, you notice that it thickens up, and then it could be used instead of eggs and things like baking. Unless you want like a meringue, that's a whole nother story, and I'll talk about that later. So for that,
So, Renee?
Yes,
Renee, you said 1.5 cup of chickpea flour, right? On the recipe?
no,
it
I
says-
said just a half cup,
Okay, sorry.
one
Okay.
half cup for
Okay.
each of the little bowls that you're making. If you're
Got
just
it.
making one, just a half a cup of chickpea flour, and then we had 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast and 1 tablespoon of, this is your ground flaxseed. I'm not going to measure that out too closely either. And I'm putting one of those in each one of my little plastic containers here. Okay, and then there's just a little bit left. I'm going to just be a little nice and put a little extra in. Voila. Okay. So that was the flax seeds. They can go sit over here. And then basil. It calls for basil, but what I use is I have Italian seasoning. This Italian seasoning is not from the original. I buy my spices in the ones that I use a lot in bulk. So I don't know if I mentioned this last time, you can stop, but Frontier Co-op is a place that, like, if you've gone to Wards and you see all this stuff in the bulk that you could buy, spices and herbs, that's where they get them from. And you can actually ask them, or also at Earth Origins, but I've never actually succeeded in getting them to send me something, to order a whole pound bag for you. And so I buy a whole pound bag. I have, like, for example, I just recently bought a bag of curry powder because I use a hell of a lot of curry powder. So it comes out a lot less expensive. And then I just I take what I need into my little doohickey, my little, everyday use. And then I put the rest of it very carefully wrapped into the freezer. And when I need to refill my container, then I do it. And I do that for like curry and turmeric and chili powder, things that I use a lot of. So this calls for a teaspoon of dried basil. If you want to use more basil or use like Italian seasoning blend or a herbs de Provence or something, that's fine. I mean, experiment. So I'm putting teaspoon, big heaping teaspoon, because you can't have too much spice. Well, you can, but not this one. Okay, so that's that. And then the thing that you do want to measure carefully, more carefully, is the baking powder. I do buy aluminum-free baking powder. And this is something, usually the top of the baking powder thing will have a little metal thing. That's so you can level it off. So, and this one does not have it, and I only need a half a teaspoon. That one's nice and clean. So I will actually level that one off. Okay,
Renee, this is Bonnie. Can I ask a question?
please do.
I didn't know if you didn't want to be interrupted or saved to the end.
No, that's okay. If it's a question having to do with the actual cooking, go, please do.
The baking powder, the item you're on. I'm watching sodium ingredients real closely, and I found that Hain brand, available quite a few places, including Whole Foods, has a no sodium. Check to see on there how much sodium you're putting in.
It has 40 milligrams in 1/8 of a teaspoon. So if I'm using a half a teaspoon, then that's quite a bit, actually, 160 milligrams. But that's
Yeah.
not really a lot in the scope of things, I mean, that's not like using a bouillon cube that has 900 milligrams.
Understood.
You know.
I just thought people might be interested
Right.
to know you can get a no sodium.
Huh, I'll have to look
version.
into that. Yeah, this one's basically cornstarch. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I use. And incidentally, I just recently ordered cornstarch from their Co-op. I didn't realize that they had that. So what am I up to? Oh, the turmeric. I don't know how it's pronounced. Now, it calls for 1/4 of a teaspoon, but I have to tell you, I love this stuff, and I'm gonna put in a half a teaspoon. You can do what you like. This is the stuff that gives curry powder its color, and this is the stuff that will give your hands and your counter and your plates and everything else its color. It's hard to get out, so and it gives it the eggy color. So there you have it, a heaping half teaspoon for me. But you can, people have different. It's not spicy, but it definitely has a flavor. Okay, and then it says a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. I don't measure out the salt, but you can if you like. And this is also not crushed red pepper. This is just a little bit of salt. One thing that's good to do with salt is to put it in, even when you're salting your food at the table, is put it in your hand. And that way you can see how much salt you have, because people just go, and they have no idea how much salt they're putting in their food. So I'm putting in probably 1/8 of a teaspoon because I don't do much salt. So, and then of course there's going to be this salt as well, this tiny little bit, which is the black salt, which gives it sort of an eggy flavor. And I'm just going to put in a little bit of that.
There's a question, is black Hawaiian salt okay to use?
That's what this is, I believe. I've never been to Hawaii, but I don't know. I think so. And this is a little grind of black pepper. I'm not fond of black pepper, so I do just little grind. Back to the grind. Okay. So, and the salt we want to cover. Are you all up with me so far? We're good. And now I'm going to cover up my other little containers here, and I'm going to put them away. And then next week, when I want to make an omelet, like it's easy. So we have this mixture now. You see all the little things that we put in there. Is everybody up with me who wants to be up with me or have any questions? And then I'm going to take, I think it's 3/4 cup of water, and I'm going to hydrate this and let it sit for a while. Is that a question? I don't know.
If you can just wait a minute, please.
Okay.
While we're rating, the extra batches you made, do you keep those in the freezer?
I do not. I just put them in the cabinet. They're sealed in little, plastic bags that were recycled. I mean, little plastic containers, recycled hummus, recycled. Oh, this is a good one. The cashew fiesta dip, vegan from Trader Joe's. Anyway, empty containers, and I just put them in my cabinet. And I don't save them for 2 years. I probably will use these in the next few weeks. It's one of our favorite meals. So I'm just going to put them over here out of the way. And anything else? Okay. So normally I might use, if I had in the fridge. You hungry? What? He's getting hungry. My cameraman is hungry. Anyway, 3/4 cup of water. But if I had in the fridge, I would use vegetable, water that was from cooking vegetables. But I used it up in making a sauce the other night, or quinoa or something. So I don't have that. And I'm going to add my 3/4 cup. Pardon me, I'm over here. Did you follow me? No, you didn't follow me. Okay. So I'm going to put the 3/4 cup. See, remember to look at your side. Oh, I got a little tiny bit extra, but that's actually okay, because it'll probably take a little bit more. The cameraman is grabbing a granola bar. It's okay. He's good. Okay, so I'm putting in the cup of water here, and I'm using this whisk, and I'm just going to whisk it up. Don't add any water to the ones that you're saving. In fact, I have made up packages of that mix, and then when we go camping or we go visit friends, or we're traveling, to an Airbnb or whatever, I take those along, and then I just have to add water, and we have, voila, omelet mix. So I'm just going to let this sit on the side. Okay. I'm going to put it over here, and it will thicken, and it might actually thicken too much, in which case you'll have to add a little water. So I'm going to just clean up my little workspace here just a little bit. And move on. Okay. So I don't know if this is the time to talk about the egg substitutes, but I just want to say that another way of making this, you have sort of the I sent you some information about other things that you could use. Like if you're baking, and often things like bananas, oatmeal, ground oat flour, things like that will help to, instead of eggs. They can, for moisture, I talked about applesauce, fruit puree, vegan yogurt. And if you look online, especially these links that I sent you, there are tons of recipes, and I could send some as well. Forget it. Okay. So, and then aquafaba, I just want to say aquafaba is the liquid that you, like if you buy canned beans, especially garbanzo beans, and the liquid in there, you can whip it up if you have the patience, and it makes, like, you could use that for meringues. It becomes very frothy and works. And I've seen it done, but especially if you have like a standing mixer, I've never succeeded in aquafaba. I have to say, I only tried it once, but anyway. And then I have
Renee, do you
not
think
tried.
it's healthy? Do you think aquafaba is healthy, since normally we rinse our beans?
Right. I guess if you bought, look, it probably has some sodium in it, but I don't think canned beans have that much in it. And I don't know. That is a good question. How much salt is in aquafaba?
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you made your own beans, you'd have, if you've cooked garbanzo beans from scratch, then that, you can have your own liquid from that and use that apparently. So, and then I want to show you some of the other little things.
We also, Mom, we had a question about egg substitutes using perfect. Somebody had a question about just egg and how much to use to substitute for an egg.
I'm just getting the good thing out. So I just found out about this recently, and it is a commercial product. It's not super cheap, but it's not super expensive. And this one, the liquid, do you see it backwards? No, there you go. I can see it forwards. So this one is a liquid, and I would use this for making like a quiche. I have not tried making a quiche with garbanzo bean stuff. So it's a liquid, and you could probably also use it like, it's really crazy that these people don't tell you, like, oh, use 3 tablespoons to replace 1 egg. You have to go online and figure that out. It's really crazy, but you could use it for making scrambled eggs. And then this stays in the fridge, and it usually has, this one says March 20th, and I bought it last week. Sometimes I bought it and it like expires like right away. And also once you open it, you need to use it right away. But one thing of this will make a good like quiche in your standard, store-bought crust. And then this is the just egg in the already made, and it says four folded plant eggs. And that's what it is. And I have used this like when I make pad see ew, which is that, like there are Chinese stir fries that have eggs in them. I've taken one of these and nuked it and chopped it up and thrown it in. So it's good. I mean, it's not usually my kind of thing.
What's the ingredient?
The ingredients, thank you. Water, mung bean protein isolate, canola oil, cornstarch, and then it has some baking powder and dehydrated garlic, onion, carrot extractives for color, turmeric, of course, and salt. The sodium content is 300 milligrams for 1 piece. This one I think is lower. This one's 160 for eighth of this. So, and the protein is 7 grams, and this one is 5 grams. So maybe the serving size is different. But anyway, so that's equivalent to an egg. An egg is 7 grams of protein, actual chicken egg. So it's about the same protein. Yes?
Did you ever use just eggs in baking?
I have not yet. I'm telling you, I just found out about it a few weeks ago, and I've made a quiche.
So you don't know if you can.
But I'm pretty sure you can. And also, Winnie, if you go to their site, they have recipes. I keep looking at that instead of this, so everyone's
Okay. All right.
Anyway, so I'm gonna put these back in the freezer, and we're gonna get started. So the next thing is whatever vegetables you wanna put in, and excuse me, refrigerator, and I'm gonna use some onion. We like lots of veggies in here. I'm out of spinach, unfortunately. So there's an onion, and if you remember, always cut away from you. Watch those fingers. So obviously, I'm not cutting up vegetables for the two things. This outside piece doesn't look so good. And let me put these guys in here. So I'm gonna chop up this onion. Some of it got away. And then we're gonna fry it, saute it. And I use one pan for the same pan. I'm like not a fan of doing tons of dishes. I don't mind doing some dishes, especially when it's cold out. I say, oh, nice, warm water. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in here. Let me just give this a little rinse. Okay, I'll get them all ready so that we can, so that I'm not running back and forth.
Question about the container. It looks like an onion.
Oh, the container looks like, isn't that clever? I got that at Zabar's when I went to New York, and it has some friends, just so you can have some fun here. So that's one way of, storing stuff in the fridge in a way that you can actually find it, because otherwise they get like lost. Okay, so that's that. And then I'm going to use a red pepper. I do not eat green peppers. I have had problems with nightshades in the past, but somehow, well, I think red peppers are better for you. They've got a whole lot more vitamin C than green peppers, which I believe are like not ripe. They're probably the same plant, but riper. And anyway, so I'm just going to cut up some of this. Get rid of the seeds. Okay, so there's our red pepper, and I'm going to chop it up, and I'm going to put it in here. Put one less dish here. Just little pieces. So meanwhile, our mix is thickening up. I made a lot of red pepper, more than I usually do, but you could put lots of different things in here. Sometimes I use those marinated artichokes I add in, or whatever you have around. So actually, there's not room for that in there. Let's put it in here. Mushrooms, go away. Liquid, go away. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here. If I wanted to, I could. Oh, see, I even got pepper on my laptop. Okay, and then I'm going to slice up the mushrooms. I usually cut off the stems, and if you have squirrels, they really like the mushroom stems, especially shiitakes. This does not look like the best mushroom. It smells okay. Okay. I usually buy my mushrooms in bulk because I don't want to, I am going to get rid of this mushroom because the rest of them look a lot happier. Well, at least this one does. I buy them in bulk because I don't want to, I have quite a collection of these little plastic containers that you buy mushrooms in, and I try and not collect so many. So, and they don't recycle those from in Gainesville. So I try and buy them in bulk, either at Earth Origins or at Whole Foods have them in bulk. I don't know about Wards. Anybody knows? So, okay. Another funny mush. Well, some of it's funny, some of it's not. We're not going to use all of this. Okay. I just bought these too on Thursday. So, okay. So I'm going to put these in the fridge, and then we're going to go over to the stove. I guess I can turn on the light there. Everybody with me? We're good? Any other interesting additions that people are putting in their omelet?
Not yet, but after I learn what you're doing, I may put extras.
You may do what?
After I see what you're doing and learn how to do what you're doing, I made extra ingredients.
Oh, extra, right. I usually follow the recipe the first time. This recipe originally was made with asparagus, but if I have asparagus, sometimes I'll use it. So, let me just say a word about the pans. So you can make this in a smaller pan and make half of it at a time with, you know, if you're having an individual omelet, and then save the other stuff. If it's just one of you or the two of you want to have your own omelet. I use this pan. Yes, smells a bit. We're gonna open a door, I think, Dennis. Anyway, why does it smell like gas in here? Maybe I turned it on. Anyway, so I'm gonna use this pan. This is an Ozeri that I inherited from someone that's supposedly it's non-toxic, non-stick, but I still use oil in it. I got the light on. I'm not gonna turn my fan on because then you will not be able to hear me. So I'm turning the flame to like sort of a medium high, and gonna pour in some, I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna pour in some olive oil with that canola. Canola wanted to get in this. I buy my olive oil. I think we had this conversation last time. Falafel king, and it's from someplace in the Middle East. It is from Lebanon. So I'm just gonna put in like a tablespoon US of oil. You can go back in the fridge, let it while it's heating up. And you always start sauteing. I know this is the things that are gonna take longest to saute. And that in this case is the onions. I also want to say that many times I make this with veggie sausage. I know some people have trouble with veggie sausage, but there are some that are, I saved it containing the bad thing. I won't do it this time, but if you're gonna use veggie sausage, I really like this one because this really is spicy and it adds flavor, and I would just like saute one or two and then chop it up and add it with the veggies when I put in the guts.
Can you show it again?
Yeah, so this is a Beyond Meat
Beyond, okay.
one. And it's gluten-free. It's made with pea protein and a lot of yeasts and a lot of other stuff. It's not the greatest thing, and there are some brands that are made like Annie's or some other brand have made with more food sounding type things. But we really like the flavor of this one. It's not like a regular thing, but I do use it. So there's that, and that I'll talk about later. Okay, well, don't forget about my oil that's heating up. Okay, there we go. So there go the onions. Got a little bit of onion threads in there. I'm going to put the mushrooms in here. And then over. I need to get a drink, guys. So you can just look at that if you like. Water. Okay. Cool. Very nice. I could look at that other computer screen and see what we're doing. So this will just take a few moments. And when it looks like it's starting to get soft. Meanwhile, if you look at your mix, this mix is starting to thicken up nicely. It's probably perfect the way it is. I might have to add a few drops of water just to make it a little bit. It'll be pretty thick. Meanwhile, I'll get out my cheese. So be ready. I'm just going to use this. I'm going to use the diet shreds. It's mozzarella. It's made out of. You don't have to. It's basically non-nutritive. So I just use some just to get that cheese effect. I think the onions are coming along happy. They're looking for company. There we go. Have some company. It's pretty, different color things. The mushrooms.
Also, Renee, we can't hear you super well when you're at the stove. I don't know if you can talk a little louder. If you could talk a little louder when you're talking.
Okay, yeah, okay. Over the sound of the sizzling onions.
And also, do you have any comments about vegan cheese?
Well, I mean, I haven't found any yet. I mean, there are some that are, we did have a discussion about it last week. There are some that are made out of more real foods than others. like instead of, coconut oil, they're made out of cashews. I haven't found any good of this. Even Miyoko's, they make some good like spready cheeses out of cashews, but I haven't found, I don't think they're shredded mozzarella. Those things are made out of anything better. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, ideally, you make your own out of something good, and there are tons of recipes. I have not gone there yet. Has anyone else here in terms of making your own cheese? It's not something I've done, but I have a friend who does, and her cheeses are amazing. So we'll let that cook a little bit more. Any other questions, meanwhile? Good. Just another minute or two, and our veggies will be happily sauteed. If I add spinach, I would probably add it just before I finish sauteing them, so it would wilt down, so that you don't have a, so, and yeah. And if I was using the sausage, I would saute it first, and then it gives the whole, everything in the pan, I would take it out, but then the oil in the pan tastes like the spicy sausage, so it's nice. And the spicy sausage, I have to say, it does add some protein because it is, what did you say? It was pea protein based, all the Beyond Beef products. Just a minute more. I really like my onions to get done, and I know many of you do too. That was one of the things. No raw onions. Good job, cameraman. I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to put these on the side. Let me lower the flame a little bit while I do this. And then we're going to get to the really fun part here. Coming in on the finish line of, oh, you know what I totally forgot to do is have people wash their hands. Oh, damn. Supposed to do that in the beginning, Renee. Did everybody wash their hands? Because I want to do something special when we wash our hands. So maybe we'll wash our hands when we're done so we can do that. So I had washed my hands earlier. So I'm going to be a little more generous with the oil, because one of the things that happens is you want to make sure that your does stick to the pan, and then you have a problem flipping it. You don't flip it over, you flip it one side over the other. You're not going to flip the whole thing over. Oh, I put that down. So this is kind of a good consistency. I'm going to add maybe a drop or two of water, maybe another like tablespoon. Oh, I might have added too much, but it's pretty forgiving, I've noticed. So, and I'm going to put this a little bit above medium. Everybody's stove is different.
We have a question. Is it a similar texture to a frittata?
I suppose so. I don't know. I don't know. It's probably like pancake batter. How's that? Okay, so now we're going to put it in here. Got our oil going around all over the place. And I'm going to use this kind of spatula to make sure I get it all out. So voila. And then I'm going to try and get it spread around. And then where's the cover? I'm going to cover this. Where'd the cover go?
Oh, the metal cover?
Yeah, did you take it away?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
in the way. It's on the sink.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to spread it around, and then I'm going to keep it on medium heat, and I'm going to cover it up. And then it should take like, 4 or 5 minutes. It'll get, it'll be happier. And you want it to be kind of a little solid on the top. You can put the oil away. You can throw this in the sink. And, okay. So just while it's cooking, just for fun, we're going to wash our hands. You know how they always say that when you wash your hands, you sing happy birthday? So I'm going to wash my hands, and I'm going to sing happy birthday to Dennis, whose birthday is on Tuesday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dennis. Happy birthday to you. There we go. Okay. I just had to do, I forgot to do it in the beginning and I had to do it. It was part of my shtick here. Okay. Can anybody guess how old Dennis is turning? Ha. Family members not allowed to comment, so.
52,
What?
52?
52, yeah. Everybody always thinks he married an older woman.
Trombone sled, the big parade.
That's his birthday. Okay. He's turning 76.
Wow.
He looks great.
He
His
does
only
look good.
complaint about my cooking, I told you last time, was you keep feeding me like this, I'm gonna live forever. So, but he does have parents whose father made it to 102 and his mother 97, and they died within a few days of each other. So anyway, so that's the story. Did I have anything else on my list of things that I'm gonna do while my eggs are cooking? Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm just gonna clean up. I like to clean up as I go, and then I will check back with the eggs. Everything's over here. I put my compost into I've had lots of different compost issues. And this is what I do. I put it in a glass casserole dish and I cover it up. And then when it gets kind of full, I walk it outside and throw it out in the yard because I don't garden. That's the way it goes. Okay, so how are we doing here? Oh, we're getting pretty good. I'm gonna touch it. Oh, almost done. I would give it another minute or two. Can you see it's got some little holes in it, which is interesting, and it's getting a little brown around the edges, but it still feels a little sticky. So I'm gonna keep it in there for a little bit. Oh, one other thing I could put in here that makes it taste really good, and you don't have to do this, but if I have some. Last week we talked about, we used this with the veggies. Let's see if it's still good. I haven't, yeah, lovely. Okay, I'm gonna use, it tastes really good. It's since I didn't use sausage today, I will use some of this basil. It's from Trader Joe's. Can you see that? It's called vegan kale, cashew, and basil pesto. And I love it. It's like, it's my, convenience food for making, for vegetables, for sandwiches, and so, some people put mayonnaise on their thing. Okay, so now is the tricky part. So I'm gonna take this stuff and smear it around a bit. And then I'm gonna put the veggies on top of it. Okay, and then we're gonna,
Just put it on half.
I'm just putting it on half. Thank you for reminding me. And then I spread it around that half. So this is a large omelet. I mean, maybe you're really hungry and you haven't eaten for a while and you want to eat the whole thing, but we find that it's very filling and we share it. And this is the hardest part of these cheeses or anything else that comes in these resellable bags. And I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of this around. Maybe a tiny bit more. So that was maybe a quarter of a cup of cheese. And then this is the very tricky part. Let us pray. Oh my God, it's a miracle. You guys are good luck. Look at that, voila. That worked. This is probably gonna be hot. I'm just gonna put the cover on and in just a few minutes when the cheese melts, we're good to go. So there we go. And my cheese. We have a weirdly designed kitchen because we did it ourselves. Okay. And you can also use like feta cheese. And if you do eat cheese, you could just use cheese. So any questions about that? Okay. So
No, I have a question about cleaning mushrooms, Renee. Some of
Oh,
mine
yes.
are really, really filthy. So I use a little toothbrush and, put underwater. But what do you do? How do you clean your mushrooms?
I just wash them until I don't have any like really dirty stuff on them. Oh, I forgot to, I was gonna put parsley in, but I forgot the parsley. Yeah, so that's what I have a friend who doesn't even wet them, like they just use a brush, but I feel a little uncomfortable doing that. So I I just, you know, I actually immerse them in water and, you know, rub them with my fingers until it doesn't look like dirty mushrooms. Because you know what they say, they keep me in the dark and, you know, treat me like a mushroom. Anyway, we won't go there. Okay, so this is John. I'm going to turn it off because we're not going to be eating yet. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the few things that we're eating with it. I like having it with a piece of toast. And okay, then it's just coming around. And I just wanted to talk about gluten-free bread because a lot of the people on our group here are gluten-free. And this is the one I like. A lot of the gluten-free breads are not vegan. They have egg yolks in them or egg whites or whatever, and or milk powder. This one is made by Char, and they really cater to people who, something says there, the host has, I don't know. Anyway, they really cater to people who have celiac. So their things are like certified gluten-free, but they make lots of different breads, including a white. But this is a multi-grain bread. It tastes really good. It has 5 grams of fiber in it, and it's soft, it's lovely, and it comes in this nitrogen package thing. Usually what I do is take some out and put them in the fridge and freeze the rest. So I'm gonna have some of that with the meal, but I don't have to show you how to make toast.
Where do you buy that bread?
They do have it at Earth Origins, and I think other places like Winn-Dixie and Walmart have it. I've never seen, you know, Whole Foods does not have, doesn't have any good. I haven't found any good.
They want the name of the bread again
It's
clearer.
called Char.
Spell it
Char,
out because they can't see.
SCHAR. And it's this is they have it lots of different flavors. This is artisan baker multi-grain. So you got it baked with ancient grains. They have another kind of multi-grain bread that sometimes they have, and they have a white. And then they also make like hamburger buns, which are pretty white, and a few other things. So that's the bread. I just, somebody had asked last week about that. We had pizza last week. If I go to Earth Origins and they have these are Sammy's, you know, Sammy who makes the pita and Sammy who makes the crack, what we call crack, the cinnamon crackers, millet flax. These are not certified gluten-free, but they make this pizza crust, and then I just bring it home and, you know, put pizza stuff on it. So I'm not making my own pizza dough. I'm, you know, call me lazy. The other thing I wanted to talk about was fiber. So I'm like a stickler about fiber. It's being a dietitian. I mean, I've done like a trillion, you know, diet recalls from patients and analyzed their diet. I was a research dietitian at one point, and the nutrient that is most missing is fiber. And it's the one that if added back could do the most good because, well, first of all, there's 2 different kinds of fiber and they have different effects in your body. First of all, there's insoluble fiber, and that's the stuff like wheat bran and, you know, heavy duty rice and, you know, those kinds of grains. And those are like brusha. Those help with regularity and cleaning out, keeping your intestines a happy place, which can help prevent a lot of illnesses and discomfort as well. And then there's soluble fiber, which is things like fruits and oats and beans. And those really help regulate your body in such a way that they really fight against things like diabetes. They you know, help lower blood sugar. They help lower cholesterol. They're just really good for your health. And so where else do you find fiber? Do eggs have fiber? No. Does milk have fiber? No. Does any kind of meat have fiber? No. So that's another reason to eat more plant-based foods is you're getting both kinds of fiber and decreasing your risk of lots of horrible, you know, chronic diseases. So that's my story about fiber. I always call it the Zen nutrient because it has all these wonderful effects and 0 calories. It's like, you know, just give me some fiber. So that's the story with that. We're coming up on 5 minutes too. Are there any other questions?
Annie would like to show us real quick some mushrooms that she had gotten recently from
Sure.
the grocery store.
And also the pesto container that you use. Would you show us that again, please?
Sure, certainly. Well, yeah, it comes in this little clear container, It's near the hummus and the tofu at the local Trader Joe's. And it's vegan kale, cashew, and basil pesto. And I can tell you what's in it. That's pretty much what's in it. Kale, olive oil blend, water, basil, cashew butter, which is just roasted cashews and sunflower oil, garlic, lemon juice, sea salt, black pepper. You can see my glass. I'm not wearing my reading glasses. Anyway, and it's a Trader Joe's product. I don't know, like a lot of Trader Joe's products are made by other people, but I don't know who makes, they never tell you who or where. Or, anyway, but that's okay. They usually sell it for cheaper anyway, less expensive. I like Trader Joe's. So what was I gonna say? So in future, I mean, you guys are welcome to start eating if you want. In future classes, I mean, if you have preferences of what I do, I mean, there's so many things we could do. I was thinking of doing some stir fries, breakfast foods. I used to start my classes like I do them like a progression. Like the first class would be breakfast, and we'd make a whole lot of different breakfast things, different pancakes or overnight oats, or just steel cut oats without doing them overnight. How to make your own granola. These are all things we could do. Desserts and snacks that are healthy and full of fiber, including some stealth stuff. Like there's, you know, brownies made with beans and pumpkin puree, things like that. A quinoa bowl, that's something that we usually eat at least once every week or two. Quinoa is just wonderful stuff. And that's, you know, make it with black beans or whatever kind of beans you want, and veggies and avocado. So that's something. We could do some soups. If we could get very, what do you call it? Ambitious and make lasagna. So I love my lasagna. What can I say? Dennis does too. Tastes better the next day. So these are all things that we could do. And if people would have, you know, preferences or, you know, requests, or I'm fine with doing whatever. So, you know, I expect I'll just do it every other Sunday at 4 o'clock. We'll leave it like that. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to do. Only if you really want me to. I wanted to finish. I need to do this. Okay. What am I going to do? First of all, this. Okay, I don't need to look at that. What are these? These are our parfait glasses, guys. You know what I'm going to do?
Yes. More chia pudding.
Chia pudding. I gotta finish it. Okay, so there's the chia pudding. I made it the other night. It came out great. And I have some, I'm gonna just put my little thing over here. I'm gonna chop up some, let me get it. I will get a clean knife. I won't use the onion knife for the pear. I have pears, blueberries, and there should be part of a banana here. This morning we had tofu pancakes. It's our Sunday morning breakfast. If it's Sunday, we must be eating tofu pancakes. They have cardamom in it, which I love, but not everybody does. If you don't like cardamom, you could always put something else in it. But anyway, that's something. This was already rinsed earlier, but it's got a little rot on the inside, but it's fine. We will cut that out. And so, actually, so here is our things in the sink. Hold on, so the dishwasher won't have difficulty cleaning it later. I'm the dishwasher. And let me get a clean spoon here. So, the parfaits. Here we go. So, look at that. That one is good. Like, look, you go like that, and it doesn't even fall out of the jar. Ha. Oh, I have to tell you what happened last time. You know, the chia parfait did not thicken. I had used a different type of ripple. Remember we talked about ripple?
Yes.
Okay, the pea protein. Generally, I make my own, but for actual drinking, like putting in coffee or tea or hot cold cereal, I use this. But when I make hot cereal, I use the stuff I make. Anyway, I had seen when I shopped, I found one that was made with oat milk and pea protein. And so we just started using it, and it did not thicken up. So what did I do? I wrote to the Ripple company. I mean, there was no information even about the product on the on their site. Like it was like it didn't exist. So I wrote to them and said, "What's the deal?" also that product said that it had 6 grams of added sugar, and there was no sugar in it. So I said, what's the deal here? It didn't thicken up and it had this extra sugar. So they sent me back a very nice letter, email, of course. I'm just putting these, you can watch me while I chat, do the patter. And they said that they were very interested in what I had to say. And they said that they hydrolyze some of the oats, which means they break down the complex carbohydrates into simple carbohydrates. And that makes it sweeter, naturally sweet, but they count it as added sugar. I need to wash some blueberries. I don't know if you can see these. I'll put them over here so you can see the blueberries.
I hope they sent you
Behind.
coupons too.
Pardon? Oh,
Did
and
they
they
send
sent
you
me
coupons?
coupons. So
Yay!
she said that they're going to look into and that the reason was that the chia didn't, because something else had already hydrolyzed some of the carbohydrate, and so maybe that's why it didn't work. Anyway, whatever. I'm rinsing my blueberries. Okay, and then I'm going to throw in some blueberries. Voila. And I'm going to put in some banana, leftover banana from breakfast. Cold banana. Oops, there you go. 3 for you, 3 for you. We might use a new banana, I don't know. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse my hands because I'm all sticky. And what else is going to go in here? More chia pudding. Doesn't this look beautiful? It looks so decadent. I love it. And you can just sort of like, you know, whatever it does, it does. It looks good from the side. What was I going to do? Granola. Oh, I can't get the cover off. My hands are sticky. Okay, granola is very chunky. I'm gonna like try and crush it up a little bit, but well, it doesn't make a difference. We'll eat it later, and it'll be. So I'm just gonna put like, you know, some granola in there. It's a the granola that I'm using is, oh God, I forgot the name of the brand. I'd have to go in the other room and look, because of course I put it in some other container, but it's not terribly sugared. And then, oh, we're gonna make this. Well, let's see, what can we put on now? I'm gonna put in a little bit of just more fruit. And so Dennis is hungry. I should finish this up now. So
I'm okay now.
he's okay now. He has. Voila, some more pear. I'm gonna put in something really decadent. Okay, so here's another thing. I buy vegan chocolate chips in bulk. You can get them. I know they sell them at Worth, so they do have sugar in them, but they're, you know, fair trade and they're vegan. So he gets chocolate chips. And for those people who don't want to do chocolate, I buy carrot chips. And that just makes a little extra kind of sweet thing. You could also put in there like, oh, you know what's really good in it? I'll throw some in. Craisins, the orange craisins. Yep. Close that up. Okay. Just a few little orange craisins. So nice, orange and chocolate together. Okay, and now we're going to put in the rest of the. Oh, I made it so high. There may not be enough room for all of the chia pudding. Nope, we're going to manage. Okay, and this was if for people who weren't here last week, it was just 1 cup of milk with a 1/4 cup of chia seeds, not ground, and like a tablespoon of maple syrup. And then if you want, you could add a teaspoon of vanilla extract if you have, you know, a lot of money in the bank. Okay, so just kidding. And then I'm just going to top it with these beautiful big blueberries. And if you want to get really decadent, they sell oat-based whipped cream that we've used occasionally. Okay, and that, voila, is your
Looking good, yum.
Isn't that pretty? I mean, that's like, we eat this a lot because I mean, what's bad about it? We've got, what? Oh, he's lifting it up.
He's taking it now.
No, this is yours, Dennis. This one's yours, that one's mine. Anyway, so that's it. Any questions about that? So, any comments, questions about nutrition or the cooking or anything else?
I do want to say if I know Annie wanted to share some of her mushrooms, so if there's time after the questions for her to do that.
Okay.
This has been a wonderful hour.
Thank
Chef
you.
extraordinaire, and Dennis is one lucky man.
Don't I know it?
And he did a great job on the camera work. Thank you. And thank you, Mayra.
Great.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I still can't see exactly. Oh, yes, he's still there. So we have the whole fam family, as we say, is present.
Well, that cutting board shot looks great. That's really looks delicious.
Oh, really? Oh, good, good. So I'm trying to see who else is here.
Well, I ended up making the omelet and eating the whole thing. At first, I thought, like you said, for one person, it was almost stuffed. And so I had about a quarter of it left. And then while you're making dessert, it was so good, I finished it off. So the omelet's all
there
done.
you go.
Yeah. I had probably a little more turmeric than usual. I was just at the bottom of the spice jar, and I just kind of poured the rest of it in there. But it's a great flavor.
Great, great.
Wow, look at those mushrooms.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I just want to say this thing about these mushrooms. Look at them.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Listen up.
Annie, did you grow these?
No, listen. There is a guy at the 441 Saturday Farmers Market who shows up. They grow these up in Tallahassee and they drive them down. They drive them down every week, and he has lion's mane. He has every mushroom you can think of, and they're clean as a whistle. They're grown indoors, scientifically. We should all get together and start one of these in Gainesville.
It is.
Well, there are a lot of I think I know the guy. That's the sunshine mushroom guy.
I don't even know the name of them. I buy his mushrooms every week and I come home and I process them. I just usually saute them or make broth or do whatever I'm going to do with them. And then sometimes I freeze some of it. Sometimes I just put it in the fridge and use it, add it into everything I'm cooking all. Yeah.
I do eat a lot of mushrooms, but mostly just shiitakes and portobellos.
He has those too. He does.
If you have a dark spot, you can grow those lion's mane and the oyster mushrooms. Those are actually not that hard to grow.
Yeah, I don't care for them that much. I mean, I've had there used to be a guy at the Thursday market at who made like a lion's mane dish. His name was Dave, and it was delicious. But I'm not that good at it. What am I looking at?
Yeah, we got to kind of keep them in the dark, and so there's a tendency to forget about them. You got to mist them, once or twice a day, and if they're out of sight, they're kind of out of mind, and so yeah.
So do you grow your own, Alan?
No, I haven't, but I have, Mark Billman's daughter. They grow a bunch of them.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know if they're still selling them, but you could really end up with a big volume of them. I mean, it's incredible. They really have like a meaty texture when they're in clusters like that.
Cool.
Well, Renee.
Yes.
Would you please show that bread again on the number 2 side with the cutting board? I couldn't read it too. On the other side. Okay.
Yeah. It's not super cheap. I don't know. It's probably like $5 or something. I don't know. But I really like it. I mean, I don't eat that much bread, which is why I freeze some of it after I open it. But if you buy it before, and don't use it for a while, it'll stay in the nitrogen for a long time. One time it didn't, and it got moldy, and I wrote to them, and they, of course, sent me coupons. That's the way.
Thank you.
I want to show you the The hamburger buns that they make are not all that healthy, but if you want to have a veggie burger occasionally, it's good to have a hamburger bun. They make these, and these only have, oh, these have 4 grams of fiber, probably because they add psyllium seed. But this is mostly water, cornstarch, and rice flour. And that's the hamburger buns. See, I know, can you see those? Yeah. Okay, so that's a hamburger bun, and that's the label of that one. They sell those there too. And then somebody told me that they have a like a Italian bread. I haven't tried it yet, which would be nice to have with our lasagna, right? Dennis gets his baguette from, you know, upper crust, and I don't eat it. So, okay. I think we're good. If anybody has any other questions or suggestions, or write me during the week, I will try and put together the nutritional analysis of the omelet. I also usually, I think I told you, I'm going to slice up tomato and put a little balsamic vinegar on it to have on the side. So I feel like I have even more vegetables because it doesn't have that many vegetables. Normally we would eat this for a breakfast meal, but it's okay for a dinner as well. So, and you of course put anything in it, you know, if you have leftover veggies or whatever, we're good to go. So
Very good.
I think we're good to go. Any last minute questions? Thank you guys for participating, for your, makes it fun. I'm having a good time. So, cool.
See you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Thank you
Okay,
so
take care.
much. Thank you,
Okay,
thank
bye-bye.
you.
Bye, Winnie.
Bye. Mayor, are you going to save the chat?